Hello, everyone. We are on October 14th. Incredible how time flies. Ah, gosh, it was almost 14 days ago that the Starship Troopers demo released, and you're still around here to find out a little bit more. Hello, Lanzer, hello, Loon Striker, hello, Soviet Hush, welcome back. Soviet Hush is our Starship Troopers ambassador, I can say, by the number of questions he asks all the time. So thanks for joining us. I was finding a reason to feel a little bit old today, and found out that the movie Pulp Fiction released on 1994 on the 14th of October. So if you feel like a little bit old, that's your little input. For me, it is definitely. What is happening in the world of strategy games? Not much really these days, other than of course the great demo for Starship Troopers and whatever we do ourselves. There's going to be an interesting stress demo test for Age of Empires in about 3 days, Age of Empires 4, so we look forward to that. And other than that, not much else. So we are here to fill your strategy gaming appetite. Thanks everyone for joining. We have only 25 followers left to reach the addition of 5 back catalogs games to the Slitherine store and more. Thanks for resubscribing. Oh my goodness, your nicknames. Ashandra's Ash. Gosh, how many H's can you have in a single nickname? So welcome back to and thanks for resubscribing. Right, so today we have Ash. Thanks for resubscribing, Ash, and for being part of this tea time. And well, today we have an interesting schedule. So I wanted to sort of split our tea time half hour into 3 big chunks. The first bit, we're going to go through Starship Troopers because we promised you that we were going to analyze how the demo went, what the numbers were, what you liked, what you didn't, and I wanted to sort of go through a little bit of that first. Thanks for following us, Bowfire. Hey Mark, there was a photo on the internet with suit from the 4th movie of the game. Is that real or fake? Fake, like probably 99% fake. So the first bit will be about Starship Troopers. Then we're going to go through some Field of Glory 2 tournament updates. We have cool updates, of course, because round 1 of the World Team Championship is over. So we have a lot of news on that as well. And then we'll focus a little bit more on the release schedule. Pay attention to that because there will be news about some of your favorite games there. And we'll give you information, a little bit more detailed information, as I promised you. From now on, will be as precise as possible when it comes to telling you in advance when a game releases and how. Thanks, see you, Sihan, for teasing about something. But anyway, let's start with Starship Troopers. So, Starship Troopers, you know, we released the demo. The demo was the number 3 most played demo of the Steam Next Fest. We were very happy about the number of people that played the demo. And we are now left in a very interesting position. So hear me out and help me if you can in the chat, because there will be a lot of asking you what you think about it. So 60,000 people in total, about 60,000 people, just over 60,000 people actually played the demo during the week of the Steam Next Fest. Almost 20,000 people finished the demo. So that means that they finished the Peace of Mind mission. Out of these 20,000, a fair amount, like a decent bunch, over 50%, finished it at high difficulty level, which means that there's about 1/6 of the players who actually played the demo finished it on the highest difficulty level. We had about 1,000 comments saying that the game is too hard, and about 10,000 people finished the game at highest difficulty level. So you see where we're left as a publisher, right? So we have a lot of feedback and we have to make decisions now. Do we make the game easier? Do we make the game harder? What do we do about the features we've got, and how do we implement a way for both categories of players, because they are both very vocal and they want very specific things from a game, to attract both of these audiences and try and make them both happy. No, the game is not hard. So you see that there starts to be an interesting discussion on how we're going to face this this challenge. So I want to talk about this, because it's not a stupid topic, right? We are faced with an interesting challenge here, and doing it with the community, or trying to put it in front of the community, is the most important thing. So we sell Artistocrats. Thanks, Lucas. We sell difficulty levels as DLCs. Okay, that's not bad. That's not a bad idea. So we have ranked 5 top things we are going to work on the game. Not that we're going, that doesn't mean that we're fixing the specific things, because again, as I was trying to say, fixing a thing doesn't mean that you're fixing it to everyone. What we're going to do is work on these specific categories and make sure that we address these problems. So I think it's very important that you all understand this. We are going to work on our items to make them, to address the feedback we had from the demo. Feel free to post comments on there, because what we're going to do is going to read over all of these again. We have almost over 2,000 people on the Discord, so make sure that you keep talking about it, because you're absolutely fundamental in trying to reach this balance. So number 1 item that was requested to fix was line of fire. So we have, we've got this very different mechanic, the true line of fire, and one of the things that was most pointed out was that this line of fire mechanic is cool, it's really interesting. It just brings this level of depth to the RTS world that wasn't really present before that, which is great, but it has some shortcomings. We have to work on it to make sure that it's delivered better to the players and has a better effect into the game, a clearer effect into the game. So good point. Line of fire is an interesting mechanic, though needs to work properly. Now, what is it that will make it work properly? Then it is the number 1 problem we have, because working properly means that you have to make some gameplay compromises that we're going to face as a number 1 priority. Number two is sound and immersion. Right. So as you know, you might know, sound was added at the very last in the demo. So it was definitely one of the points that we had rushed for the demo itself. We'll make sure that we work on it. We are actually already working on a lot of the sound effects and immersion in the battle phases. So it's definitely something we're working on. Again, it's not something that has to be fixed, it has to be worked on, and we are definitely going to address some of these things. Number 3. Move and attack command. This is something that's very much linked to the line of fire, line of sight mechanic. We have to make sure that this is something that's addressed, because we know that stuff like reaction fire and being able to sort of outsource to the AI some of the work of actually spotting enemies and taking care of them is better organized in the game. So that's definitely one thing that we have to address. Again, very much linked to how hard you want the game to be, you know, how much of the micromanagement you want to take care of in the game, because that's of course one big part of making the game a little bit more challenging, right? You know, command your troops means that you have to command your troops. You don't have to leave them do whatever they want in the battlefield and hope for the best. So it's definitely one thing that we have to look into, again, linked to the line of fire, line of sight, but also making sure that this is also included in the balancing and ease of accessibility into the game. Trying to look at some comment there. Okay, Soviet Hush, you make a good point there on something that's linked to the line of fire, which is the friendly fire type. Now, friendly fire can very easily break all your balancing. So it's something that, if added, has to be taken very seriously into consideration, and also, you know, into the general topic of the line of fire, line of sight. So make sure that all these elements balance out, because you want to create an experience that's interesting for the player and also, you know, challenging enough for the different levels of experience. Then all these elements will have to be taken very carefully into consideration. But, you know, you understand where we're coming from here. You know, it's not an easy task. You know, it's something that needs a lot of iteration. So everyone out there who's in the beta, who's you know, involved in the improvement on the game, help us out, because that's going to be a tremendous help for the success of the game. Number 4. No camera rotation. Right, camera rotation and all of the, in general, all of the camera movements, it's definitely something we know that we have to work on. Again, not an easy one because of, again, accessibility and how the game works. It's one of the things that would definitely help some, you know, immersion and, you know, more like cinematic effects in the game, but would also, you know, make it hard to read what's happening in the game. So again, one thing that we are considering at the moment, and a number 4 item in, you know, the most requested features or changes. So definitely something we need to take care of. And we'll keep you up to date on this. We keep telling you how we are going to improve these things over time, so that you are always, you know, knowing what's happening. Nice but not demanded. Agree, no camera rotation, make it to play old RTS. There haven't been had camera rotation too. It's kind of one of these requests that comes from maybe newer players, less experienced players, that, you know, most of the like more contemporary games have, and you know, in general, it's something that's, you know, helps making the experience a bit more, you know, cinematic in general. You're right, Damien, that most of the time, when there is a camera rotation, you kind of play around with it a little bit and then never use it again. But that's of course something that we need to consider when, you know, when the feedback is so, you know, vocal. Then we need to consider it. Number 5. We have number 5 now. I think this is going back to the first one, right? Let me check. There were 4. There were 4. My bad. My bad. I've got here the rest of the analysis that my friend, this is like notes, my friend and colleague Alberto made. And I'd like to, stuff like, you know, when you have like, would you buy Starship Troopers 10 command on release? We had this in the poll we gave away, and 75% of people said yes. So that's an interesting you know, figure to have to play, and you know, all these interesting points about, you know, how to improve the game are on the back of a massive satisfaction on, you know, what the game is and how it's coming along. So you know, consider that it's all very helpful, but also comes on the back of we like the game, and that's from a lot of people we had. Anything, so morale system, anything that adds depth to the strategic part of the product is going to be hard, Soviet Hush, because we are facing a type of game that needs to appeal to a very broad audience. So adding layers of complexity always excludes part of these audiences. And because we have 40,000 people in the end that didn't finish the demo, or maybe found it too hard, or found shortcomings because it wasn't accessible enough and so on, we need to take care of that as well. So making it more accessible is definitely going to be our #1 priority. Making it more immersive in the world of Starship Troopers, #1 priority. After that, making it a bit more for expert players. We'll see as we go along, and maybe in the future we'll help. We'll do more on that side of things. Other things that have been said. There's some very specific bugs that have been highlighted, but of course that's part of the. I'll call it a beta test, a large beta, this demo, what it was. There were some graphical glitches. We're working on, more support for, keyboard configuration. So there's other areas we're working on towards, but definitely something that we'll focus on. We don't have much time left because you've got 3-4 months of solid development now before we release, before we get to the point where we can release the game. So it's not that much. So we have to focus on very specific things. So that was Starship Troopers. I took quite a long time to go through that, but I wanted to make sure you're all involved in this, and it's our priority to look at what you say. So take part, Discord, Steam discussions, anything. We want this game to be top of mind for you, and make sure that we deliver what you are expecting. Casper from YouTube enjoyed the game, did not finish it because of time commitments, but thanks for your contribution. Feedback comes from vocal minority, and many players who are perfectly happy will simply say nothing. You're right, Requin, but of course, it's our duty as a publisher to understand what a vocal minority is, a relevant feedback, and what is just noise. But it's definitely one thing that we have in mind when we think about these things. Thanks for playing the first mission, Wolf Guardian. There were a lot of other demos as well, so why not play a lot of them instead of focusing on one game only? And right, so thanks for the contribution, guys. Can we go to Fog a little bit? I'd like to focus a little bit on the Fog tournament, because that was interesting. What happened in the first round? So changing subject completely, we're going to talk about Field of Glory 2 World Team Championship now. Stage 1 is over, and we have some big wins, some big losses, and so we're here to show you what the current status of things is whilst round number 2 is happening. So we've got the board with the results. I'll get into that. First round recap. Now, Group A, we have the Armchair Heroes just basically won well against the Australians, whilst the French and the US team Hell on Wheels, we did almost a draw, I would say. The French won by a small margin. So, but this ranking is very short. So there's number of points, number of lost and casualties. Is an interesting, very challenging group. On Group B, the Brits won the first game against Team Italy 2, like it was a true horrible massacre. So 16 points to 0, and Russia Europe ended up at 12-4 with a good performance by the Russians. Group C, the Polish team over 12 points, and we had Team Italy A, Team Italy won, or Team Italy A losing. So both Italian teams lost, and there's worst. On Group D, you have the Pershing Pikes, which is a US team, won against rest of the world, won very well against the rest of the world. Europe 2 and Serbia had a draw, at 8 point each. Europe 2 is where Paolo Paglianti, our PR manager, is, and of course he lost his game. And as a company, I'm a bit disappointed. We'll see what to do with him, but he keeps losing. And as a teaser, he's also losing his second match in round 2. So we're not very happy with him. On Group E, Chinese team has done a great job on game 1 against Canada, but also they're class number 2, but the Furo Gallico team made a great game against the UK Cry Havoc team. So that's an interesting group as well, because number 1 and number 2 are really showing very strong skills. On Group F, final group, the First Continental Legion won against the Chinese team Han, and the New Zealand and the World's team got a draw. I think this shows very interesting data, because group number 2 will define a lot of things. Remember that the first 2 of each group plus the first 4 third will be going through the next round. So I'll make sure I post updates on this as we go, but it's showing very challenging. Luckily, we didn't have any big dispute on points and stuff, so that's been really good, going really well. And we're very happy about how things are going. That's for Field of Glory 2, and thanks to all the players and the organizers as well, because the organizers are doing a great job at putting everything together. I have to say, it's incredibly intense. A draw seems ridiculously unlikely. Oh, David. I think I pissed off David. I don't want to go back to my desk. It wasn't a draw, but drawing points, I guess, not in casualties. Paolo losing, less so. Yes, you're right. Paolo, unfortunately, he says that he's a very good DBMM player. He keeps sending us pictures of him winning games at Art de la Guerre, but he pretends to be very good. He's a good Flames of War player, but anytime he plays a digital version of anything, of a Field of Glory, anything, he just loses all the time. So we don't know what's happening. But if you know any good trainer who can explain Paolo how to play a game of Field of Glory, let us know. I mean, we're prepared to pay for private lessons. So ping us on info@slitherine.co.uk or help@prmanager.slitherine.co.uk. More news. We have a sale running on Gamersgate. The sale is a 1-week-long sale. All the catalog, which is up there, is on massive sale. So check it out if you're missing any game in the collection. As you know, Gamersgate, we sell Steam keys. There's quite a lot of stuff being sold there at discounted prices. So make your way to the Gamersgate store and help yourself. There's a lot of very good stuff there. Also, we have recently published a new dev diary for Master of Magic, highlighting some of the races in the game. Bruno, in the meantime, is clicking everywhere to make sure that he follows what I'm saying. Sorry, Bruno. So there's quite a lot of information about races and how that's going to pan out in the game. Of course, remember that Master of Magic is releasing next year, and it's the remake of the classic of classics. Pantacor 2, round 2 of the tournament is underway. The battle we're playing is El Alamein, and the 320 something players left in the tournament are currently fighting over the North Africa battle that, me being Italian, remember, has some significance. And also a note from the developer here, and I want to make that very clear to all the players. We are going to, before round 3, we're going to make some slight changes to the scoring system. There has been some discussion in the forums about how that works, and and it's how balanced it is and so on. So we want to make sure that that works properly as we go, and we improve it as we go, because this is a long tournament. So any change we can make across along the way, that's a priority for us. And it's time to look at the release schedule. So it's not much left before the end of the year. So that's definitely one thing that we want to make sure that we understand. But before the end of the year, we are done for for the big releases. So as someone said in the chat earlier on, we have decided to move, and I say this with sadness, because I really wanted Distant Worlds 2 to release this year, but it's now moved to Q1 next year. Why? Well, the team has had all sorts of personal issues, and also the feedback we got from the beta testers has been a massive bunch to deal with. So we were left with with a choice of sort of rushing things out and making all the changes that we felt were necessary to to push out a good game. I don't actually see the release schedule. If you can display it on full screen, no problem, Bruno. That's me asking for too much today. And so Distant Worlds 2 is now postponed to next year. We are also going to announce release dates later on in the year. We are preparing. Hopefully that's going to happen. I won't give you 100% sure news, but we're going to announce it when it's going to be official. Remember what we did in May with this big event we did for announcing games and so on. As I said many times, we have a lot more games in development. So I want to make sure that we do another event before the end of the year. We don't know when, we don't know how, but that's also when we're going to announce the calendar of releases for the Q1 of 2022 and make other big announcements. We have at least 2 big announcements to make before the end of the year in terms of stuff that's actually releasing before the end of the year, stuff that we haven't announced yet. But we, for what concerns 2022, you guys know that there's a lot of stuff releasing Q1 next year, not only from us, but everyone is pushing a lot of stuff towards Q1, so we want to make sure that we selected the right release slots for that. So what you see in the chart now, there is a release date for Command Red Tide and for Fantasy General 2 on Switch. I'm coming to Scramble in a moment, Loon Striker. Order of Battle Allies Resurgent coming on Xbox and PC on November 11. We have Decisive Campaigns Ardennes Offensive on November 18th, and Battle Sector for consoles coming in Q4, which means late Q4. With more news about that as well to come, but I can't officially say anything right now. But there's more news about that specific topic also. And also Combat Mission Cold War is again a question mark. Though progress has been made on PBM, we don't know if that's going to come together before the end of the year. Which means, right, for us it's a very complicated, because the number of slots you've got to release games from now before the end of the year are not a lot, because you've got a lot of sales weeks. So you typically don't release stuff in a sales week. So Thanksgiving or Christmas sales or in big holiday sales and so on, that's not a moment when you can release a game. So the number of weeks left to release games is very scarce. So we need to make sure that we everything we do is falling into specific timing, and that's not easy. 2022, we have date for Campaign Series Vietnam. They will be most probably be the first game we release next year in January. That's going to be our first release in 2022. Then we have everything else a little bit up in the air. As I said, we're going to announce more about that later, including Scramble, which is going through an interesting development phase, because the game is solid. We've got the the gameplay elements there and so on, and James and John are working super well on what the game looks and so on. But there's elements like multiplayer and campaign and all that kind of stuff that needs to be addressed now. So we are sort of in between a design phase and the proper development phase, which is iterating a lot. Is Neverdark still a thing? Well, you ask me, I ask you. We don't know really, because that's got an interesting development story, and at the moment I can say that we're not planning Neverdark to happen in the near future, and we're considering what to do with it, but there's no more news than that. Lenser campaign series pushed back again. That was basically, Lenser, a decision we had to make because of what I just said, because of the number of slots available before the end of the year. There is not very much left, and because campaign series is a game that needs a little bit more time to be digested by, for creation of YouTube content and tutorial videos and so on. We need that space to create that and to actually publish afterwards. So the game will release in the very first part of Q1 next year. When next beta for Distant Worlds open? Now, Sihon, one thing that we're opening up to make up for the fact that the game is delayed is that we are opening more beta positions. So we definitely are opening up in the next coming days. So if you're already there subscribed to the beta, that's great. I'd probably ask Francesco to take names of people who are asking in the chat right now, so that we can add them. That's Digb and Sihon. I think it's a good idea that whoever is present in the chat now deserves a place in the beta, and that's for the release schedule. We've got so much stuff to say. It's incredible. We are super excited about a number of things that we can't say to you, I guess, yet. But I think that you'll be surprised, and I really love the fact that this Starship Troopers thing is really sort of helping us understand how important it is to have this very direct dialogue with the community, and the more we can do that, the happier I am. I've been going too long, so do you have a list of streams, Bruno? So thanks for your contribution, guys, and whatever information we have, we'll try and be as transparent as we can and make sure that you know it right away. Will there be another demo for Terran Command? No. No plans for that. And the next step for Terran Command will be the release of the game. So today, just after this, we've got Yog Dog playing Panzer Corps 2. And at 6:30 p.m. we have Das Tactic playing Fog Medieval. And your evening program will keep on going at 8 p.m. with Battle Sector played by Hexaboo. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. we have Das Tactic playing Fog Medieval. Das Tactic is giving a lot of time to Fog, which is great. And XTRG at 8 o'clock playing War in the East. On Saturday, you guess, we have Kushan playing Command at 6 p.m. and Sergeant Z-Dog playing ICBM at 8 p.m. in the evening. Now, next week is release week for Command Red Tide. I hope to have someone from the Command team come over and say hello and say something about the release and more. Or we can discuss a bit of pro stuff as well and so on. So give it a little bit of a spin. And guys, I'll see you next week. I hope that you enjoy this episode of Tea Time, and follow us over. We have lots of stuff happening, and thanks again for the feedback and for contributing to making this a great demo for Starship Troopers. Thank you very much.